thousands of students, parents, educators, and workers demonstrated in California on March 4th against cuts to public education. About 1,000 students and faculty gathered at a rally at San Diego State University, where speakers from the International Students for Social Equality addressed the rally. The ISSE called for the formation of a working-class political movement to defend education.
We have a Democratic president. The state Senate in California is Democratic. In Michigan, the state Senate is Democratic. The Democratic Party controls the majority in Congress. Yet, these cuts are being imposed regardless. We say we need a new political party that represents the entire working class, the people who have been the victims of budget cuts, school shutdowns, and unemployment. There was a bank bailout over the course of the past 3 years that transferred trillions of dollars in social wealth. The money that should have gone to your education, the money that should have gone to jobs programs and the creation of employment. And it went into the pockets of the super rich. And the net results of all of this is that students, like we heard from today, are gonna be priced out of an education. I think Barack Obama is leading the attack on education cuts, together with the Democrats and the Republicans. Students, workers voted for Barack Obama, but he does not represent us. We need a political party that represents the whole of the working class, the students and workers, to fight for education, to fight for jobs, and a socialist program to redistribute the wealth of society in social interest.
In 2006, they told you they would stop the war if you just voted for them. What happened? In 2008, this fresh, new, exciting individual promised us that, look, I'm the face for a new progressive movement in this country. What has it done? Nothing! He has kept one promise. He said he was going to have a surge in Afghanistan, and that one promise he kept. Just this week, he went to Rhode Island, where 100 teachers and staff were fired one day to the next by the school there. And he gloated to the business organization. He said, I support this. Teachers ought to be accountable, he said. How come the hedge fund managers and the billionaires and the bankers and the generals and the war criminals are not held accountable by Obama, and only the teachers?
After the San Diego State rally, at least 3,000 people marched to the governor's office downtown, where ISSE member Ricardo Ruiz addressed the crowd.
Today's events must be made the starting point of a national struggle against the attacks on students and workers. As states across this country face unprecedented fiscal crises as a result of the global collapse of capitalism, we continue to be told that there is no money. No money for education, no money for social services, no money for health care, no money for jobs, no money to rebuild the crumbling infrastructure in this country. In short, we are told that there is no money for workers and students. Education is a vital necessity for all workers and youth. It is not a luxury that should be cut and destroyed to meet the interests of the financial elite. Well, the ISSE insists that it's not a matter of what needs to be cut, but rather what is the necessary political strategy to oppose all cuts. Both parties of big business, the Democrats and the Republicans, and all their agents from the federal level on down to the local level, they all claim that there's no money for education and the basic social services. This, of course, is after they emptied the public vault to bail out the banks and fund 2 criminal wars. So there always seems to be no money for the pressing social needs of the day that benefit the vast majority of the population. But of course, there's money to bail out the banks and allow the Wall Street execs to walk down the street with the biggest bonuses that they have ever seen. This is absolutely unacceptable. Students and workers are not responsible for the reckless gambling of Wall Street, and therefore we do not have to pay for it. It is important to remember that this is a national, and even further, it is an international struggle. It is high time to fight back. The ISSE calls for the struggles of students to be linked up with workers and ultimately to have the unification of students and workers internationally. We call for no education cuts, billions to rebuild schools, and free education for all. Education is our right and we demand it. We call for an emergency public works program, jobs for everyone who wants to work. No individual seeking work should be denied it. We call for the nationalization of the banks and large corporations, for equality in the redistribution of wealth. The vast sums of social wealth must be put under the democratic control of working people in order to break the political and economic grip of the financial elite in this country. We call for the withdrawal of all troops in Iraq and Afghanistan and the end to militarism. So long as billions upon billions are dumped into the imperialist war machine, our needs cannot be met. Now these demands may seem as though they're floating in the clouds or there's some kind of utopian vision. These are grounded in reality. We have the productive forces to make all of this happen. But this can only occur if workers and students link up around the world, take over the social wealth that is produced by them, and put it under the democratic control of them. This is the program of the ISSE. And if you agree with it, we encourage you to join the ISSE and take up the struggle for socialism.